What was your initial reaction to the news that Prince Harry and Meghan Markle were stepping back and moving to Canada?
Well, I was shocked, but not surprised, if that makes sense, because quite honestly, it's been looking that way for a while. You know, when the baby was born, they named it with no royal title, and that to me suspected that that's the course they wanted to go. And I mean, Archie Harrison, Mountbatten Windsor, you know, was the name, and had nothing to do with the royal family. So I suspected that that was a lot to do with Meghan's thinking. The other thing is that they've been away for 6 weeks, and there's not been a peep out of them until they posted a picture at Christmas of them with their baby. And nobody seemed to care. There was no, I remember checking with the editor here, and he said, we've had no pictures, we've had no stories come out of that place. So they're obviously working out a system where they could work and live in Canada and maybe pop up and down to California when it suited them.
What do you think is behind the move, and who out of the two of them is more responsible?
Well, I think that, you know, I just go back a bit. I mean, Harry was the most popular member of the royal family as far as this newspaper was concerned. And as far as I was concerned, if you went on a tour with Harry, it was fun. It was, if he was kidding Usain Bolt, or he was dancing in Bob Marley's back room, whatever he was doing, it was fun. If he was playing rugby with children on Copacabana Beach, or he was visiting sick children in a Barbados hospital, Harry turned it into fun, made the children laugh, made the children... And all along he's been like that, and he's been an absolute joy to work with. In fact, every day, you just couldn't take a break because some moment there'd be something that happened which would make the papers the next day. And he turned from that into a really miserable person, I must say. I mean, the last tour they went on to South Africa, at the end of the tour, which was a very successful tour, they both did an awful lot of things. Prince Harry went to the minefields where his mother walked, and you know, Meghan did a lot of things with children, and they danced with the people, and it was a great tour. But at the end of it, announced he was suing a newspaper. They announced they were suing a newspaper. Well, you know, that just sent the whole tour flat, and the whole mood went downhill. So you can't behave like that, you know. And the other thing which is really annoying is that they decided not to go on the royal rota, so they don't get the photographer and the reporter that's chosen for them. They say, we don't want that, we only want to deal with that person or that person who write nice things about them. Well, that just won't work. In the end of the day, stories will come to the papers and they will be held to account. And if they take private jet flights for holidays when they're talking about saving the environment, they will be held to account for that. And if that offends them, they'll then, maybe it's time they went to America. But do you think Americans are going to do that, or the Canadians are going to do that? Of course not. They'll be watching them just as closely.
How fair do you think it is to say that this has been driven by Meghan?
I think you've got to look. Harry was the greatest of all the royals as far as we were concerned, and he suddenly turned into probably, as I say, the most unhappiest and difficult to work with. And there's only one common denominator in that, is when he got married. Now, he thinks that the media criticism of his wife has been unfair, and some of it has been unfair. But then his father and Diana suffered that. His father suffered more after he divorced Diana. They didn't run away to America. They didn't run off and hide. He just faced up to it. And as he said, Prince of Wales, he said, history will judge me, and it has done. And his approval rating's is soaring now because of what people see the work he's doing. Harry, obviously, when they went to their recent holiday in Canada and America, obviously she saw her old friends, her agents, who obviously paid a glowing picture of how much money they could earn in America. And that, I think, has probably convinced her that they should go there. And, you know, the fact that she will they won't get no more criticism, I think is being naive. But the worst thing of all is they never told the Queen, and they never told Prince of Wales. I mean, the Prince of Wales is reported to be angry. I think the Prince of Wales will be sad that his son's leaving. I think he'll be really upset by that. because they are a close family. And of course, you know, Harry is very much loved by the Queen, and she's, I mean, when they did all that stuff at the palace, if you remember, but the Invictus Games, launching it, and he went boom and all this, and it was great stuff with the Queen. I mean, nobody gets that access to the Queen, but Harry did, and it was brilliant. And we won't have it anymore. You know, we won't have him on the balcony at Trooping of the Colour. I mean, if he thinks he can just pop in and out when it suits him, I don't think it'll be accepted. I think you'll have it here or there. You can't have both.
Obviously, you've spent a lot of time with the royal family, and you have a close relationship with Prince Charles. How will he be feeling? You know the guy.
I think he'll be sad. I think he will be. I think if he wasn't told or he didn't have a clue, I think he will be upset with Harry. I mean, I've seen the Prince Charles get angry. It's over in 5 minutes. He gives you a massive telling off, and then 5 minutes later he's forgotten it, and he's back to his normal self. He may have exploded when he heard that, but I'm sure he's so disappointed. And I think when I look the way that family was, when I remember it when Harry lived at Kensington Palace, and it was the Duke and Duchess of Cambridge and Prince Harry's charities, and they would all together, you know, go out and support mental health in young people. They would all go out and work with sick children. They would, and now he doesn't talk to his brother. He can't even bother to tell the Queen what he's doing, and if he hasn't spoken to his father, it's disgraceful. So, well, you know, when they go, and let them do it their way, but I suspect it won't be, they'll come back quickly, or maybe they'll stay forever there.
And what about Prince William? In that ITV Tom Bradby documentary, clearly it was obvious that the relationship between the brothers has been strained. What will William think, and how likely is this to make that rift even wider?
You know, that's one of the biggest shocks of all, because those brothers were very, very, very close. I can remember playing football together, really steaming into each other with tackles, laughing. I can remember wrestling them each other. They were just really, really close. I remember William talking about Harry when he was at Sandhurst, complaining about his blisters on his feet. I mean, really, really were close. And the fact that they no longer have a relationship, I think, is very, very sad. And once again, you know, what changed? What changed? Obviously, since he got married, he's changed. And whatever it is, whether Meghan can't stand being so far down the pecking order, or whether Harry feels that that he's no longer necessary, because there are many people now in front of him as far as reaching the throne. But that's wrong, you know, because he was there. He once saying he was there to support his brother, and he's not doing it anymore. He's leaving.
And what about the Queen? Because from the outside looking in, it wasn't just Prince Harry who had this jovial relationship with his grandma. In the early days, she seemed to be laughing and joking with Meghan, and they seemed to have a bond. So how will Her Majesty be feeling?
I think she will be. I think Harry's almost certainly been asked to go to Balmoral. I mean, the Prince of Wales is at Balmoral as well at the moment. I'm sure if they've got any sense, they'll get on a plane and go up there and spend the weekend with the Queen talking it through. I mean, you know, it's difficult for Meghan too. Meghan came into this family, I mean, she was 37, 38. She was an established actress. She was quite reasonably wealthy. She married into the royal family, and that isn't easy. I mean, a lot of, you know, 3 out of the 4 of the Queen's children, first marriages ended in divorce. So you can't say that it is easy, but, you know, they're there to support them, and the royals are there to support them. And I mean, Meghan's had a great run. I remember the first year going to Edinburgh, Dublin, Wales. The crowds were huge, and she really got involved with the people, and you know, they loved her. She would do selfies, autographs, and often the prince would be waiting for her because she was taking so much time with the people. So, you know, she did get a fair crack. And the wedding, I mean, record TV viewing figures, Windsor, town of Windsor, packed with people. It was a great event. And so, what went wrong? I don't know. Something happened that made Meghan think this is not for me. And if you can't fit into this family, and as I said earlier, it isn't easy, probably it's best they do go.
And what about the public? You mentioned that initial reaction, and we've seen endless reams of footage of Prince Harry and Meghan Markle doing rope walks and walkabouts, and the public have loved them.
Yeah.
How will the public react, and how might Prince Harry and Meghan Markle miss that?
I've talked to a lot of people over the last few weeks and asked them what they think's wrong, and everybody says Meghan. Nobody says it's the media, nobody says it's racism. I don't see any racism. I've never seen any racism in our paper towards Meghan. I don't see that at all. I see people embrace them. I see people want to come and look at them, photograph them. Just and Harry's, when he's on his own, I remember recently being in Luton with him at a school. He was fantastic with the kids there, absolutely fantastic. In fact, I took one of the best pictures ever of Harry with all these kids hugging him. And it was good stuff, and that was what Harry I remembered. And you know, he was just engaging. But you know, when you think that he would all take us after a royal tour to the pub, all the media, and pay the bill, and now all he does at the end of a tour is announce that he's going to sue a newspaper. After a very successful tour, you have to tell yourself who's advising him, who's telling him. Certainly not Buckingham Palace, certainly not Clarence House. Only be one person, and that's Meghan.
And this guy seems to have, for a lot of people, the best job in the world. He has all of the privilege, and really, in comparison to Prince William, none of the responsibility.
Yeah, exactly. And a member of the royal family is a unique position, especially a senior member like Harry, where, I mean, you know, he's done so much for this country. He went to war. He's brought the Invictus Games into a national event now, honouring these servicemen that were injured. What he's done for Wellchild, what he's done for the Centre Bali in Lesotho. I remember going there with him. I remember going to a night school there with him. And you know, you could barely see in this room. It was packed with young Lesothan boys who come to learn to read and write, and he set that up. And he was so proud of that. And I remember that young man doing that. And I remember he wasn't much older, 22, 23, and yet still he was pushing to help others. And now it seems he just can't wait to get away from this country. And for me, I think that's sad. And someone said to me, well, he loves his wife and he wants to do what's well. I love my wife, but she didn't stop me doing what I like to do. And she didn't. She knew that this was my life. I wanted to do this. And unfortunately, Harry's going to go, and if he feels he's going to go and he's never going to be criticised again, never going to be held to account again, and there's going to be never any more bad publicity, I think he's living in cloud cuckoo land.
How likely do you think it is that in a year's time, 3 years' time, 5 years' time, that one or both may regret this move?
I think it won't be that long. I think maybe a year. They'll see that, you know, it's never always looks greener in the next field. But you know, I mean, Canada and very hospitable, lovely people, great country, and I think Harry will be liked and loved there. But I don't think, you know, the things you miss, aren't there? I think you've missed the family. You miss just playing with his nephews and niece. He'll miss that. Well, surely he will. But I think maybe a year they may think about it and come back. I hope they do. I hope they do, because I think Harry's got a very big role to play in this country. He thinks he doesn't. He thinks he's going to be like Prince Andrew, where, you know, once the accession has been sorted out, there's nothing for him to do. But there is. It's a tremendous amount for him to do, and he will get great publicity from it, David, because he's so well liked, and the people love him. The people absolutely love him. I mean, when he plays naked billiards in Las Vegas, or he wears a Nazi uniform at a fancy dress party, people forgave him. Because why? Because he's a terrific chap. I mean, he's done everything he possibly can for our country. As I say, no one can do more than go and fight for our country, and he did that. And to me, he's still a hero, and I don't want him to go. And I hope we can see the old Harry someday back here.
What do you think, if she were alive today, Princess Diana would have made of all this? Obviously, you have one brother so committed to the royal family as an institution. Princess Di had her problems with it. But how do you think she would have felt about what Prince Harry and Meghan are doing?
Well, I mean, at one stage, when Diana was under intense pressure at the early stages of her romance with Dodi, she once said to a group of us that William had suggested she go and live in America. So it obviously was in her thoughts then, but she didn't do anything about it. Because she felt that the media was quite hostile, well, those were different days then. I mean, then it was hostile, then it was aggressive, but it's not like that anymore. When did you ever see a paparazzi picture of William and Catherine? When did you last see a paparazzi of Harry and Meghan? You don't see it anymore, it's stopped. When did you see a TV program that they wasn't looking great in it? I mean, that recent ITV interview, I mean, some of that was quite sad, especially when he admitted that his brother and he were no longer getting on together. And when she was asked how, nobody asked me how I am anymore. Well, perhaps if she come and spoke to us, and perhaps if she agreed to meet us, and I've asked her to meet her 3 times, I've asked them for the media to meet her 3 times, perhaps if she got to know us and got to talk to us, and maybe have her say to us, maybe it would have been different, but it's not her way.
What about the royal family itself since Prince Harry and Meghan Markle got together? How well do you think they've managed the process, and could they have done, the institution have done more to make Meghan feel more comfortable, to bring her father into the picture, to look after the PR around her family? Have they done enough, and will they learn any lessons from this experience?
I don't know what else they could have done. I mean, you know, the father didn't come to no one, only the mother came to the wedding and her family. I think that just says an awful lot. And the other thing is that when I look at what the Prince of Wales has done, what the Queen's done, I mean, Prince of Wales walked Meghan down the aisle. He couldn't have been more lovely to her than that. The Queen, as you say, they have garden parties, they're laughing and joking together. And, you know, and she is very engaging. When I listen to her talk and to people, I mean, she's brilliant. I mean, she's a great actress. And I just feel a lot of the time we see a lot of the actress and we don't see the real person. And the real person probably came across a bit in that Tom Bradby interview when she looked incredibly sad. And, you know, no one likes, I suppose, being criticised, but she was being praised. I certainly was going on television and radio saying, I think she's a great asset. In fact, I remember saying she's a great ambassador for our country. And it all turned round after that baby was born. And then suddenly, we don't know the baby's born for hours after it's born. We're led to believe it's a home birth and it was born in a hospital. And that was probably planned all along. Everything is kind of, it's been different. You know, when William and Catherine have their children, they come out the front of the hospital, show us the baby, they exchange a few words with the media and smiling, and that's the difference. And this way, we got, a few days later when they were ready, we saw a picture. I mean, it's just, you know, you can do things differently, but after a while people get fed up with that. I mean, when you think the taxpayers funded their remodeling of their house for over nearly £3 million, I think you should be aware of that and show a bit more, well, a bit more respect for the British people. And I think I mean, why were we told? I mean, the baby was born at 5, we didn't know till 2 o'clock that she was just going into labour. I mean, it's ridiculous.
You mentioned millions for the renovation of Frogmore. How do you think the couple will adjust to, in inverted commas, real life? It's not going to be like the average person's real life, but still, it's going to be lacking some of the trappings of royal life.
Yeah, well, I don't think the Canadian taxpayer is going to fund a new home for them. Certainly not. I think there'll be uproar over that. I imagine they're having to pay for the security of the couple because, after all, you know, Harry is a senior member of this family, a royal family, and he does need protecting, and so does she and their baby. But I think I just think Harry will miss it here. I think he will miss. They say they're coming backwards and forwards and they're going to do royal duties, but I don't see how that can work. You're either here or there. And either they love it there and stay there, or they decide they made a mistake and come back. I don't know. But I hope he comes back.
And how much of a shame do you think it is for baby Archie that his parents are making this move? His life, presumably now, is going to be quite different.
Well, he'll have an American accent for one, which is which will annoy a few people. I mean, we'll not be speaking the way the Queen speaks or the Prince of Wales. But look, you know, listen, Archie's just a little baby now. He won't know about this for a few more years, by which time we'll know exactly what the situation is. Look, there's a lot of people say the marriage won't last. There's a lot of people saying that she'll leave him, he'll leave her. I think they looking at them, they're a couple very much in love, and I think he's trying to accommodate her wishes, and I think she's thinking it may well work, it may well do, but I think he should have had I think he should get on the plane and talk to the Queen and his father. At least work out some sort of plan where maybe they can come back and get engaged, but in public life here. But, you know, not seeing Harry on the balcony at Buckingham Palace at Trooping the Colour, not seeing him there for the Remembrance Sunday, people, after a while, will forget about him, will forget about her. And, you know, we'll probably see stories here and there, bits of gossip, and perhaps if she has another baby, but, you know, no one's that big, no one's that powerful, out of sight, out of mind.
Finally, if you had the opportunity to speak to both Prince Harry and Meghan Markle now, what would be your message?
I would say, look, give it a go if that's what you really want to do, because I would never stop any of my children doing what they wanted to do, but I would try and work out a plan where they could try it for a while, and if they don't work out, come back. Work out a plan where, I mean, I imagine Frogmore House will now just sit idle until they decide to come there. And who knows about all the people that work for them, probably they'll be fired. And I'd say to him, look, think about it, but obviously they have done. And I'd say, Harry, just go back to the way you were, because you were a star. You were certainly a star as far as I was concerned. And I loved working with you, and I loved being on trips with you, and I liked going to schools with you and hospitals with you, and because you were just a fun person and great pictures. And I'll miss those very much.